Coach Shipley here with Hardwood Prospects. Really wanted to talk today about how to separate yourself from other basketball players. I'm going to be referencing an article by Jay Bilas titled Defining Toughness in College Hoops. Came out in January 2009. I highly recommend you guys go and give it a read. But if not, here are some cliff notes and some things that I highly believe will really improve your game and separate. And they're small things. And before I get started, I want everyone to understand that small things matter. Details, every small detail matters. And that's pretty much what we're talking about in every one of these characteristics or every one of these skills. It's a detail. We'll just jump right into it. Set a good screen. Setting good screens and being a good scorer almost go hand in hand. If you can set a good screen, that's one of the best ways to get open. And it's also a selfless play. You're getting your teammate open. Funny story, Bob Knight, when he coached the USA Olympic team, he used to make Michael Jordan set a screen before he could ever get a shot off. So if Michael Jordan can do it, arguably one of the best players ever, I think it's good enough for you guys. Set screens. Also a great opportunity for you to get open. So with that, make sure we're not screening an area, we're screening a body. All right, set good screens. There's number one. Two, on the flip side of that, if I'm coming off of a screen, I got to make sure I'm setting my man up. A good basketball player, a tough-minded basketball player understands that basketball is a game of deception. You're changing speeds, you're changing pace. So when I'm coming off my screen, I got to set my man up one way so I can come off the other way. Are you being detailed in the screen? Are you coming off shoulder to hip? Are you giving a target hand? Are you reading the screen? If he's trailing me, am I going to curl it? If he's playing on the inside, am I going to pop and flare? Whatever your offense is designed to do, just have that tough-minded skill that I'm not going to be lazy coming off of this. And even if you don't receive a pass, coming off a screen, you cutting hard, that could allow the defense to shift to get another teammate open. So I can't set that enough or say that enough. Set your cut up. Talk on defense. Huge. Talking on defense it solves problems. It's intimidating. It's huge. It brings intensity. There's so many things to talking on defense that just it helps you. Doc Rivers, one of his big famous quotes is, you're not playing defense unless you're communicating. And I firmly believe in that. You got to be talking on ball screens. You got to talk when you're in help. You got to talk on, when there's a low post feed, on mismatches. There's so many things you got to talk about. So you're constantly talking. Jim Boone, phenomenal basketball coach. I highly recommend you guys follow him. He talks about ELO. You want to talk early. You want to talk loud. You want to talk often. So that's something we always try to stress to our players. ELO. Talk. Overly talk. Next one. This is something where, depending on your philosophy, jumping to the ball, I say sprint to help. Same thing. Make sure you're aware of being in help. Keeping somebody in front is extremely hard to do. You got to make sure that you're aware of where the ball is so I can rotate over and help my teammate. We tell our players when you're playing off the ball, you're alert and suspicious because you're not really guarding your man. The only person that can score is the person with the ball. Everyone's got their eyes on the ball plus their man. So I got to be in help. I got to be able to rotate. Those are things that are critical, and that'll help you. That shows you have IQ. That shows you're engaged. It shows you're not lazy. Those are huge things. Get your hands up. That's the next one. When you're closing out, can't have hands down. The famous saying, hand down, man down. And then somebody shoots a three and, dots one in your eye. That's something that can't happen. You got to be able to contest a shot, hands up, tracing the basketball, try to get deflections. You want to discombobulate the offense as much as possible, even if it's just messing up their timing from a kickball. Anything. We want to try to get as many deflections as possible and try to just hound the ball handler. Now, with that being said, we want to keep the ball in front. So don't just get blown by, but get your hands up, trace the basketball, active hands. Goes right into our next portion, goes right into what we're just talking about. Play the ball, see your man. All right. The only person that can score on the court is the person with the basketball. So you're guarding your man, you're guarding the ball, plus your man, okay? Everyone needs to understand that concept. I ask people all the time when we're doing 4-on-4 shell, or I'll stop practice when we're going in our 5-on-5, and who you guarding? And then they'll name a player. No, you're not guarding her. You're not guarding him. You're guarding the ball plus him or her. So always be cognizant of that. Next one, get on the floor. Huge. Value the basketball. Compete. College coaches, any coach, they want to see you compete and value each possession. So make sure if the ball's on the floor and it's a loose ball, or they call them 50-50 balls, make them 90-10 balls. Make them 100 balls. Whatever you got to do, get on the floor. Another thing, just to touch on this, I think it's big on injury prevention. I can't tell you how many times I've seen a kid standing around a pile, and then another kid dives on the floor after a loose ball, and the next thing you know, they get a blown knee. So make sure we're getting on the floor. Next one, close out under control. You want to be under control in your closeout. Now, this is something that depends on philosophy. I've heard of people running people off the 3-point line when you have a team that can really shoot it from the perimeter, and you might do a jackrabbit closeout where you're flying at a shooter and then you plant and come back. You might have a traditional closeout with short, choppy steps, low hips, high hands. Whatever it is, make sure you're closing out, hands are up, you're contesting shots. Those are things that are critical to your defense. You don't want to have a breakdown. Kermit Davis said this, and I thought this was awesome. He was at MTSU, got to watch his practices a lot. Now he's at Ole Miss, and he always would stress, be the second one off the floor. And when you contest, you're not contesting to block a shot. You're contesting their vision. You're trying to put a hand in their face. So always keep that in mind. Post players, all right? I'm a big, and I think you define basketball like this. Basketball is collisions at the rim and threes. You don't have a lot of post-up game anymore, but it exists. It's still there. You got mid-post, you got high post, and even the low post, it's still around. So that being said, I think it's a lost art when I watch kids when they post up. A lot of kids, when you say post up, they go to an area. Post up a body. Post up somebody with a pulse. Go put a body on somebody. Post up with your feet. Post up with your legs. Footwork is imperative to be a good post player. And get a big wide base and demand the basketball. Have a presence. Be vocal. Again, goes back into communication. Talk early, talk loud, talk often. Get to your teammates first. That's the next one. If a teammate dives on the floor after a loose ball, you need to be the one picking them up. That's huge. If a coach is coming to recruit you, they have players on their team. They want to make sure that they're recruiting kids that are high character kids that are going to help their teammates out. So make sure, if you got a teammate on the floor that just took a charge or sacrificed their body for a team on a loose ball, go help them up. That's huge. Taking charges. I think that's a toughness. All of these are toughness skills, but taking a charge is extremely, extremely tough to do. You are literally sacrificing your body for the team so you can get the next possession. And there's so many things that take place in a charge. That's what I like to call a momentum changing play. Not only do you get the possession, you get a foul called on that player, they're less aggressive to attack the next possession. Momentum just changes in your way. It's huge. It's an energy lifter. Everyone on the team should just be going crazy when somebody takes a charge. I think they're phenomenal. I think they're great for changing games. Get in a stance. Off the ball defensively. If you're guarding off the ball, and we spoke about this earlier, you need to be alert and suspicious. I don't need to be standing up with my knees locked. I need to be in an athletic stance, ready to rotate, ready to get my hands up, ready to close out. Maybe my teammate helps. Well, I got to be the helper. There's multiple actions that happen in a defensive possession. So make sure you're constantly engaged. Finish plays. You got to finish at the rim. I spoke earlier. I said basketball, in my opinion, is collisions at the rim and threes. Well, you got to be able to finish through contact. Understand that basketball is a contact sport. You're going to get hit some. Not everything's a foul. You got to make sure I'm going up, and especially in the summertime. Everyone knows how physical that AAU and travel or exposure ball, whatever you want to call it, everyone knows how physical that is. So you got to make sure you're finishing these plays. We're not just talking about at the rim. I mean, even passing, transferring the basketball, keeping it out of the middle third of your body. Those are huge things that coaches are looking for. Work on your pass. I think the quality of the shot It goes right back to the quality of the pass. If you got a shooter coming off a screen and then you throw it at their knee or throw it at their ankles, that's a hard, play to make. So make it easy for your teammates. Work on your craft. Work on being a good passer. There was a story I heard about Jason Williams, and that he would worry about trying to get the laces right to his shooters on every pass he threw. That's how detailed he was when he was trying to throw passes. So I thought that was huge. Got to be able to take criticism. Coaches are always watching how you're being coached. So if you're being coached hard, they want to know how you're going to respond to that. Are you going to pout when you get taken out of the game, or are you going to look them in the eyes, accept the hard coaching, sit on the bench, and then cheer your teammates on? Be an energy giver, and not sit there and pout and take energy from the room or energy from the game. So those are huge things that I think coaches look at. You have to make sure your body language is just your positive Patty all the time. You got to have that. It brings energy, it brings intensity. And again, you don't want to suck energy away from the team or the game. You can't have that. Catch and face. This is another huge skill. I see a lot of times young players, you catch it, first thing you do is dribble. Catch, face up, let's see what's going on, then let's go through our action. Are we going to rip and go? Are we trying to get to the rim, pass, screen away, whatever it is? Let's catch up and face. I see this a lot when teams are getting pressed. You'll have a guard catch the ball, take a dribble, kind of be startled that they're getting pressed. Next thing you know, they're trapped. They just wasted their dribble. So always catch, face up before we dribble. Be alert. Talked a ton about that. Now, when we talk about being alert, it's not just on the floor. We have to be alert on the bench. We have to be alert on time in timeouts. We have to be alert the entirety of the game. So make sure we understand that. We want to be alert as much as possible. Be involved, be engaged. Those are things that I think are taken for granted. If we sub in the game, you should know what defense we're in. You should know what the key player or what we're trying to do. We're trying to push them left, or we're in a zone right now, or we're about to run this action, or whatever. Be engaged. Don't sit there and what are we doing? Know what's going on in the game. Lastly, look people in the eye. This is a small trait, small skill that I think goes a long way. I think eye contact is huge. You always want to make sure when you're talking to your coaches, you're making eye contact. That's a sign of respect. It's a sign of I've received your message. I know I've received your message, and then we can keep it pushing and move on. And again, it kind of goes back to that hard coaching. It's hard. It's hard doing that, and I've been there. And I coach my players pretty hard. It's hard doing that and accepting that and making eye contact the entire time when you're just sitting there and getting corrected on all these small little details. But I promise, eye contact goes a long way. Huge, huge respect, especially in the college coach's eyes and in my eyes. Like I always tell our players, like, we want eye contact. Don't look at the floor. Don't look down. I want you to look at my eyes. Be hard to play against. Be easy to play with. Don't try to go make the highlight play. Make the correct play. I can't stress that enough. I've talked to coaches every year I've coached, and they're looking for kids to make the correct play. Now, are you going to have some times where you make some crazy acrobatic play because maybe time and score, like you have to? Yes, I'm sure those are there. But if you penetrate and you make the defense collapse, don't go 1-on-5. Make the right play and kick, or drop it off to a post for a layup. Don't try to overcomplicate the game. Keep it simple. And then lastly, this is something that I really like, and I'm sure I'm forgetting, and I haven't mentioned everything in the article. I highly suggest you guys go and read it. But lastly, something I'm big on is the Dean Smith rule. If somebody gives you an assist for point, you need to be pointing at them. That's something that I'm really, really big on with my girls, my boys that I coach. I used to coach a girl. She was a post player. Don't coach her anymore, but she was really, really good at this. Anytime she'd post up and she'd get a post entry and she would score, when she was sprinting back, every single time she would point at the person who gave her the pass. And I think that went a long, long way, just as far as the camaraderie as the team and the team chemistry, just showing, hey, man, I appreciate you looking out for me right there. I was open. I promise you next time you come down the floor, I'm going to kick it back out to you if they double team me. Like I said, Whenever you're playing these games, play to win. Don't play to try to impress the coaches. Don't try to earn a scholarship. Just compete. They're already at your game. They're already at the baseline. That's the hard part. Now it's time to relax, trust your training, and focus on the small things. That's my message. Hopefully it'll help you. Again, I can't stress enough. Go out. Defining Toughness by Jay Bilas. Great stuff. Grind hard.